What's going on, everyone? Welcome to DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. I'm staff writer at Dodger Blue, Scott Geirman. I'm your host today. I'm joined by my really good buddy, Blake Williams, managing editor at Dodger Blue. How we doing, Blake?
Doing pretty good. Enjoyed the off day and ready to get going again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, since we last talked, I know we did a series preview about the Padres. We didn't do too much of a look ahead into the Nationals. Didn't seem to need that much, but now we kind of need a debrief, like we always do. This one probably a little bit shorter because there's not much to talk about. Not much exciting happened. Some pretty underwhelming results. Dodgers go 2-4 since we last talked. Really different results. From I think that myself included. I know about you and fans what we expect from the Dodgers. They're playing a very odd brand of baseball. Anything other than that? Do you think it's kind of the same line? Give me one or two words about this last week.
Not good, I
Not
think
good.
was the
I'm with
simple
you,
way to
man.
put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we expect a lot from this team, and of course, there's going to be ups and downs throughout the season. Like, no team's going to go undefeated or play their best baseball all year. They could end up winning 110 games, and they're still going to have a rough point at some stretch of the season. And I do think we're kind of seeing that. I wouldn't totally panic on anything yet, but I think you wanted to see them come out better to start the year just with all the talent they have and the excitement building up. So it's been kind of a little disappointing start. They're still doing okay overall, like they're first in the NL West and all that, but it's been somewhat disappointing still.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has come out recently about the Dodgers outfield being as a collective group outside of Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, we can lump him in there, but been one of the poorest groups production wise in all of Major League Baseball. And it's something that should really we saw them get pretty aggressive with Andy Pages. I know he came up first pitch swinging, had a base hit opposite field, which is great to see. But I don't believe he's an end all be all remedy to that because there are multiple holes in that outfield right now. Guys who are underperforming haven't really gone on. We've talked ridiculous amounts about Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux. Well, we'll stick in the outfield for now. We saw what we got from Andy Pages. What's kind of your look ahead? Or I'll just ask this. I've been asked about it by Jeff, a couple people. Are you ready to sound the alarm, at even the slightest bit on what the outfield's kind of putting together right now?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't very confident in the group heading into the year outside of Teoscar. We had our Jason Hayward video when he signed, and I think I gave that one a D grade because I just didn't
Yeah.
love that signing. He has been hurt, but I just don't believe in the bat all that much to begin with. I said I think James Outman's probably a platoon player, and although Dave Roberts said he's not, they keep using him in a platoon role. I didn't really love the Kike Hernandez re-signing because I just don't think there's much left in the bat anymore. And Chris Taylor, we've seen what we've seen from him. Like, it's about nothing production wise. So
Yeah.
you're not getting much there at all. So it's just not a great group overall. Hopefully Pajes can kind of figure it out and help them. I have some faith in it, but I don't expect him to carry that group either from that sense and be the savior of them. I was kind of pushing for them to sign Tommy Pham when he was a free agent and get him on a short-term deal. The White Sox got him for $3 million.
Yeah.
So that move just made a ton of sense to me to kind of solidify the outfield a bit, but I guess they seem a little more confident in their group. I'm not sure I totally believe in that. We've seen them kind of stick with veterans in the past that haven't really worked out, like David Peralta last year, and they even gave him the chance to play in the playoffs while he was injured. So I kind of feel like they're going that route again, which I don't love, but yeah, I have definite concerns about the outfield outside of Teoscar.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Taylor has his 1 for 35. He has one hit and 42 plate appearances. So it just kind of says all you need to know about that. You and I will. It's okay. I really want to emphasize that. Yes, we believe that things will kind of go towards the mean, and it will not be this bad. But I have no problem, and I think everybody should acknowledge that it's okay to say things are not okay with the Dodgers right now. It's okay to say that guys are slumping, guys are playing, poor, and that's kind of where the outfield is currently, outside of Teoscar. And even him, he has his warts at times, but people have to live with the strikeout there. But you have to at least get some bat to ball, which we're not getting from Chris Taylor. We're not getting from Kike Hernandez. And then you shift towards the infield and then Gavin Lux. And that brings me to another point about I just wrote something up about the lower third of the lineup and Dave Roberts really reaffirming that they will get better. and that's easy to say when they're one of the worst groups in all of Major League Baseball. It's pretty. All roads have to lead up at that point. But from what the Dodgers lower third has done, the 7, 8, 9 guys since we last talked, so since April 12th through the off day, the Dodgers had the second lowest wins runs created plus from that lower third since we last talked. It's a wins runs created plus of 17. And you know what teams just in front of them or just behind them? Detroit Tigers. So the Dodgers have a collective group out there in that lower third that is among the worst in Major League Baseball. It's We need them to turn that over at least. I don't care if you slug. I just want you to be able to get on base, to give Mookie Betts, who's playing out of his mind, Shohei Ohtani, who has all the RBI opportunities in the world, to actually have them.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, and Dave Roberts was kind of saying, like, they're gonna turn it around and produce more. My concern is you're taking like 100% worse than league average and getting it up to like 60 to 70% worse than league average, or even
Yeah.
like 40 or 30% worse than league average if everything goes well. Like, it's still not a good group. Like, they're still below league average. You're increasing their production a ton, but it's still not good. So that's kind of where my concern lies with them. I don't have a ton of faith in that group figuring it out, and I think they'll need to do something. Like, I'm going to push it again. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens or it doesn't happen. Willie Adames is kind of that perfect fit to help bring them along. You replace Gavin Lux there, you get another power bat, right-handed bat in the lineup. I just think it fits so well. But of course, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
And there's going to be other options they can go get to fix that group there. And hopefully you do start getting more production from like James Outman. Like, if Outman can be league average, like, he's going to be completely fine. If you can get somewhat league average offense from like a platoon of Hayward and Kike, or Chris Taylor, if he eventually kind of figures it out, like, it's going to be okay. You kind of just need to hit on like one or two guys to actually keep the lineup moving and be good. You can live with a guy in the lineup who's not hitting at all or not really hitting, as long as they're playing fine defense, especially with the top of the lineup they have. It's just you're in a point right now where no one is providing you any production at the bottom of the lineup outside one or two games here, like, of the 15 or whatever games they played this year. So
Yeah.
it's just not great, and they need to do something to get back on track there.
Yeah, I mean, heading into the matchup with the New York Mets at home, so they wrap up. I believe it's the last thing of their homestand, so they have to play better. The Mets come into Dodger Stadium playing pretty good baseball, and that's something that it's going to be a test for them. Starting pitching, and since this last Friday hasn't been particularly good, which is difficult. They've been, I think, around a 5 ERA. I just had it up, but it's something that they need to get some length there. Dodgers aren't getting length out of their starting pitching. There is a huge emphasis on their bullpen, and they've been pretty solid, and that's something that I talked about. That I believe that they've kind of always figured it out, like they always do. Some collection of options there. They kind of mix and match and just make things work. Their FIP will be high, but somehow they'll get out of it and escape that big inning a lot of the time, aside from like Ryan Brazier giving up a 3-run bomb, something like that. But has the bullpen been okay for you?
Yes and no. I mean, it feels like they're either really good or they have a complete blow up where they melt down and everything goes wrong. Like, it doesn't seem like they just have a game where they're average, if that makes sense, and just kind of
Yeah.
like get through the game. It's either great or terrible. So I do think they've been put in a bad spot by the starting pitching.
Mm.
And like we've talked about, the decision the Dodgers have made to not go to a sixth starter and kind of use up Ryan Yarbrough every sixth game. I think they need to actually just put him in a long relief role. So if the starting pitcher for that game doesn't go deep into the game, they can use him there instead of burning up the rest of the bullpen, plus burning up the bullpen on their bullpen day game with Yarbrough starting. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Landon Ack showed he can eat innings and be fine there.
Yeah.
Like, just make him the sixth starter and get it over with already. Or when Walker Buehler comes back, just go to a 6-man rotation. There's no point in burning the bullpen. I think in the past, when they've solidified their bullpen, it's been when they've kind of brought the pitching load down from them. Like, you don't see them running out there as much. They kind of have 2 or 3 guys go each day, and they just keep rotating those 2 or 3 guys, and you don't need to go to 5 or 6 relievers in a game. So eventually I think the starting pitchers will be better. Like, Glass now he's going to be better than what he showed. He was dealing with an illness and just didn't have his stuff. I think eventually Yamamoto is going to become more consistent and kind of pitch deeper into games. So it's just kind of getting their workload down, and I think they'll improve from that sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yamamoto's built on each start he's had. Innings wise, he's been the same. Last 3 outings, he's gone 5 innings, but that pitch count, 3 starts ago, so it was 68 up till now, 80, and then this most previous one is 91 pitches. So just to that point, he's building up there, and they really need him to go deeper into games, 6, 7 innings. They desperately need that. It's kind of remarkable that the best kind of bullpen production they've received is in the pure bullpen game after Ryan Yarbrough gives them that bulk outing, which is just hilarious. Like it's just the comedic gold when you look at it as a whole that you're getting the best bullpen production in a thing where it's like, yeah, bullpen, you have to lock it down right now because you're in there the rest of the game. There is no big, starting pitcher. Uh, so heading into the Mets series, I'd really like to see them come out hot against Chamonix on Friday. It's something that they really desperately need to do. It's early, and we'll emphasize that it's okay, but sounding the alarm on some weak points in the roster is necessary for sure. When you have a guy that it's tough to hide on the roster going 1 for 35, and Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux. The best thing we're talking about is his defense, which is okay when you, but that's fine when you have other guys around him that are consistently hitting. So they're kind of puts them in a tough line. So a lot of what we're going to focus on with the Dodgers looking forward is that lower third actually becoming, a capable spot, because for a team of this magnitude, it's not okay. It's not okay for the Dodgers to really have this, void and for an entire lineup. It's okay to have one, maybe two, but three guys that you're penciling in on a nightly basis that you just don't know what you're getting is a really tough thing to kind of stomach.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, they don't need to be like superstars or anything. They really just need like league average production from them. Slightly worse, slightly better, you can live with it, but just need to be right around there. And I think eventually they'll probably end up getting that point. Like the Dodgers are going to be fine. I think it's worth noting that a lot of people are sounding the alarms and panicking and saying this team's terrible and they're not going to do anything and another playoff bust again. But like they're going to be fine. It's way too early. It's April 19th at this point. Like there's a lot more baseball than like the Diamondbacks showed last year and other teams have shown. The regular season doesn't matter. Like just get hot in the playoffs. That's the only thing that matters. If you sneak into the playoffs, you can still win the World Series and be fine. So like the Dodgers have a lot of time. There's no reason to panic or anything, but I do think it is worth noting, like to address the flaws on the team, you need to be aware of them. It's helpful to be aware of the flaws and kind of work on them. So I do think it's productive to talk about it at this point, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm really excited to look at the stuff in the bottom of the order. Like I'm excited to look at the comments after we post this, that everyone's gonna say, yeah, it's early. And they'll probably do it before they get to the end of the video. They'll say, guys, why are you talking about this? It's way too early to be talking about this. It's not okay. It's not okay to be talking about this, but it definitely is fine to talk about these. It's okay to address flaws and talk about guys who are struggling, because at a certain point, it's a pattern and things are contagious and hitting is contagious and lack of production is contagious. So I think Andy Pajes, hopefully he gets it rolling there, and those everyday at bats will be incredibly helpful for him, because we've seen them do it to Miguel Vargas. They didn't do it to Michael Busch, and we saw how that turned out. So hopefully they learn from that mistake and they let a guy that has a very plus hit tool actually hit and get consistent at bats there. So to debrief at the end of the day today, like this video is just addressing the holes in the lineup in the last week and talking about, where they are as a whole, and that the bullpen really needs to do what they've done consistently over the last few years. The starting pitching has to go deep. So we're just going to keep, we'll probably end up, I'll probably having you on here, Blake, to really talk about that there needs to be week to week improvements. So we'll be debriefing how they are week to week, because it's just generally going to be important for a team that, I spoke about that for things to go wrong, a lot of things have to go wrong. And so that we're seeing the early signs that if things don't get kind of back to control, some things can go wrong. So, but last thought, anything, Blake, anything completely alarming to you aside from just the lower third?
Completely alarming. Not necessarily. Like, I know people are going to complain about Dave Roberts, but I've shared my thoughts on him. Like, every manager is going to make mistakes and make decisions people don't agree with. I think it's very overblown. I just think they need to be more consistent. Like, Freddie Freeman's been in a bit of a slump, and that's not helping. You can kind of live with the bottom of the lineup not being productive if your top 4 or 5 guys are all hitting like to their potential, but that's not going to happen more often than not. You might get that a few games out of the year. So it's just not realistic to like expect that to keep happening. So I'm not too concerned about anything. I mean, the team has flaws, and it's okay to acknowledge that. But at the same time, every team in baseball has flaws. It's just about kind of minimizing those and having your stars be stars. Because if Ohtani is Ohtani and Betts is Betts and Freeman is Freeman, the Dodgers are going to be fine. And that's pretty much all there is to it at the end of the day.
Well said. Well said. Appreciate you coming on, Blake. My name is Scott Geirman. Thanks for tuning into Dodger Heads. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, please. This is for the panic fan. This is for the fan that actually wants to talk about the things that aren't all peachy, and that it's, yes, it is early on in the season, but talking about these things and what keeps us here. Keep tuning in. We'll keep debriefing. We'll go week to week. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm not going to pull Jeff and say go Dodgers, but let's get some good production out of the lower third of that lineup. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.